Welcome to Beaded Doilies by Shell. In this video we are continuing our gift tag. Here we have the first corner already finished. Now when working with the 2-needle stitch on a long pattern, one end of your string will tend to get longer. So I've made up a little chart to help you make it so that when you get close to the end of your 2 feet of string, your strings will be approximately the same length. Now on this piece we are starting a new row with no beads on it, so we would look at 0 either going up or going down. Going up means your row, you're starting at the bottom of your piece and you're working your way up, or you're starting at the top of your piece and working your way down. Now I'm going to show you how to start your piece for both directions at the beginning of this video, but when we begin we're actually going to be doing the going up. So we would want, as we have 0 beads on our current row, we would want our right string to be longer. Now I have 3 inches for this piece, which I am doing with faceted beads, but if you choose to use seed beads, you may need to adjust the length here according to the bead size, because depending on bead size this will vary a little, but you'll always use the right string when going up and you have 0 beads on your current row. So this is a good chart for you to follow if you like the 2-needle stitch like I do, and it will help you to not waste as much string. Alright, now when starting a new row going down, and you're along the top here, you want to start with your second bead. So we would turn the piece so that the bottom is over here and we're going this direction, and we would go into the second side bead, and that would begin our row. And then we would just add the first 3 beads, just like if we were starting a new row regularly, and that is for if you wanted to go down your row. We are going to go up, which means that we actually add the first 4 beads completely separate from our piece. So we would start with this one here, the one two away from our last beads we added, and that would be our start bead. For us it's green, and the start bead, as you know, you can add to either string. And then you would add to the left and the right, and these 2 are also green. And then you would cross, and this also is green. And then at this point, let's see, as we are going up, we want our right string to be about 3 inches longer for this piece in faceted beads. So that's about 3 inches. We will go in, making sure our string is about 3 inches longer, and then we'll come down, and there we have the first 4 beads. Now our current right string is the shorter of the 2 because our right went to the left. So we want to take the right string and go through the first bottom bead, side bottom bead, so we've added these 4 beads now, and we are now going to work our way up the pattern, adding to the left and crossing. Now when you're doing this, you want to be careful the first couple of sets that you add, that you keep your correct string, which right now is our left, was our right, longer. Just for the first couple. Once you've got the first couple on, you don't usually have to worry about accidentally pulling one string or the other to a longer position. Now we're going to want 2 green for this first one. So that's 1, 2. Now our longer one is back on the right, so we'll just make sure it's still longer. Bring it down. Then we'll go through our connecting bead. Always remember your connecting bead. Bring our 2 up. And our next 2 are going to be green. And then go to the connecting bead. And then we want a green and cross with a white. Now we need a white and cross with a red. Then we need 2 white. And now we are to the last 2 beads for this row, so we will be doing them differently. Let's cross off. Now this time we're going to be doing 1, 2. We'll be adding both to the same string. Now the string that you want is the one that went through your connecting bead. And if you were able to keep your strings the correct length, it will also be the longer of the 2 strings. So the bead coming out of your connecting bead, you're going to add your 2 beads. We want a white and a red. Then you'll go through the top of your row, your current row, in towards your finished rows. Then you'll go down away from the beads you just added, and you'll come out, and then you'll find your strings each on either side of the second side bead. And what you'll do now is cross that bead with both of your strings. And now, putting our completed rows to the right and bringing our stuff down, we're ready for the next row. We've added the last 2 beads. Now we're going to add the first 3, so we're going to add 1, 2, and then cross. And we want the string that is coming away from our row, not along it. And we're going to add the first 2 beads, which is white and green. and then we're going to cross with a red. And then we go through our connecting bead, and we've now added the first 3 beads of this row. And then we will continue adding the row. So we need 2 greens, go through the connecting bead, then we need 2 more greens, and I just noticed that we have indeed completed the candy cane, so we're going to take a quick look at our piece. There you can see the candy cane is complete, and now we will continue our row. Added these 2, now we need another 2 greens. And now we're going to need 2 red. So I'm doing my letters in red for this piece. And actually at this point we will no longer be using any more white for this piece. We are done with white. And now we need a green and cross with a red. And that finishes off our adding the row. Now we complete the row. We're going to go 1, 2, and cross. And here we want our right string, or the string that is on the same side as our completed rows. We want this string. We're going to add 1, 2, which are both green. And then we're going to be crossing with a red. There we go. That completes this row. And now we are going to begin the next row. We'll add 1, 2, 3, 4 beads. And we want to add those to the string that is coming away from our row, not along it. So we want this string here. And we're going to add a red and then 3 greens. And we come back and find the first bead again, go through it in the same direction. We bring our strings together. And there we have the beginning of our row. And then we work our way up the row. And we always leave the last beads for the ending. There we are. And the first 2 beads is a red and crossing with a green. One a red and one to cross with a green. Now if your piece gets a little loose, just work the bead so that it tightens up at this point. And then we'll go through our connecting bead. And as you can see, our strings have pretty much become the same length. Added a red and a green, and now our next 2 are going to be all green. And then we need a red and a green. Always remember your connecting bead. Now we want red and green again. And then we want all green. And here we've come to the last 2 beads of our row, but we've also come to have very short strings, so we are going to tie off. So normally we would add 1, 2, but as we are tying off, we just want to make sure to add both beads. I'm actually going to add them in the opposite direction, and I'm going to add them to my left string instead of the right one. So we need 2 green, and for tying off I'm going to add both of them to my left string. Let them drop, and then I will begin the knot, and then a double overhand, and we will go into the last bead I added and slip the knot inside of it, and then pull tight, and then we will thread back 2 center beads. Now as we did finish our row, the next row we will also begin with 0 beads on it. So as I've already shown you adding the bottom, this time I'm going to start at the top and go down. So we will go back our 2 center beads, trim off the excess, now we've added the last 2 beads for this row. That aside, and we will begin the new row. Now this time I'm going to start at the top and go down with 0 beads on, so I want the left string to be slightly longer. So, as I showed you before, you want to go into the second side bead when you are going down. And you have a flat. If you are still going up on the side, that would be different, but we're doing a long flat pattern. So we're going in the second side bead. And we want our left string this time to be a little longer. And we are going to add 1, 2, and cross. And we want to add to our left string, making sure our finished rows are to the right. This is our right, this is our left. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, and they all happen to be green. So we will add 3 greens to our left string. Make sure it's longer, and then, oh, sorry, forgot to cross the last one. Now it's our right side, now that we've crossed a bead. Bring that down, and then we go through our connecting bead. Like I said, for the first couple, you want to be careful that you keep the correct side, which right now is left after we've crossed a bead. Okay, there's those 3, and we've added them on here, or cross them off on here. Now we're going to continue down our row as usual. And the first 2 is a red and a green. So we will add a red and cross a green. And now our string, longer string, is back on the left side, so make sure it's longer. Bring our string down, then we go through our connecting bead, and at this point we should be good. Our string should stay as long as we don't pull too hard on one side or the other. And now we need a red and a green, sorry, a green and cross with a red. And then we need 2 reds. And then we're going to be doing 2 greens. And we want 2 more greens. Now we're ready to do the last 3 beads. So we're going to add 1, 2, and cross. And we're going to add to our right string, which is also the one on the same side as our finished rows. And we're going to add 2 greens. And then we're going to cross with a red. And then we want to add 1, 2, 3, 4 beads. And if we've done this correctly, the string we're going to be adding to will be the longer of the 2. It'll be the one coming away from our row, not along it. And we're going to add 2 reds and then 2 greens. And we come back to the first bead we added, go through it again in the same direction. We pull it all tight. Added the first 4 beads of this row. And then we work our way up the row. So our next 2 beads are going to be green. And we go through our connecting bead. Then another 2 green. And the next 2 are also green. Now we need a green and a red. And now 2 red. And we have come to the end of our row. Also, we have completed our B. So we're ready to add on the last 2 beads, which will go 1, 2. Now we want the bead string that went through our connecting bead, which is our right string. It also should be the longer of the 2. And we're going to add 1, 2, which both are green. And then we're going to go through the top bead of our row into towards our finished rows, then down away from the beads we just added, and then back out. And our string should be on either side of the second bead, which we will now cross. And we're ready for our next row. And we're going to add 1, 2, and cross. And we will start by adding to the string that's coming away from our row, not along it. So we'll take this one. We're going to add, and all 3 beads are green, so we're going to add 2 green and cross 1. And we go through our connecting bead. And you can see our string has become about the same length. We've added our first 3 beads, and now we will work down our row. And the first 2 will be green. Then we need a green and a red. And then we need a red and a green. Then we need all red. I think I'm going to tie off rather than finish the row. I'm going to tie off with this next set, and it's going to be all green beads. So when I tie off, and not at the end, I put both beads on the left string. So I'll take both of the greens I need and put them on the left string. Then I will tie my knot, regular and then double overhand. Bring it down, don't pull tight, slip inside the last bead added. Let the knot go inside of it. And pull tight, and we will thread back just 2 center beads. This is the first one. And the second one. And we'll trim off the excess. Alright, and we We stopped just before the end of our row, so we can go ahead and cross off all the add ones, and then we will begin with the last 3 beads in the next video. Hope to see you there.